think it was good to give him the control because I think at this preteen age, they want the control. And they want a lot of it. And it's hard to give it, but they need it. So I think to give him the control of like, you can choose whether or not you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then letting him come back and be like, this is kind of worth it. And I just think those things are really good. And that's where we spend most of our life now is there for weight and strength and conditioning and then wrestling. I think have been two really good things. But I think you're right. You see it in all aspects. Like, I think they work harder. Like they get their schoolwork done quicker. And the other thing is when he used to say, don't be an ass and wash your ass to the children after wrestling, which again, not wrong, very valid. I was just like, oh my God, you cussing at my baby. But whatever, right? Like we had just like, that's their gym. They own it. They get to run it the way they want to. So we'll, we either abide or we leave. And it's just been too good for them to leave. So now you start saying, don't be a duty head. And if you are a duty head, your parents are going to tell me. And then we'll do character building while you're here.
There you go.
And so now my kids are like, I don't want to do character building. I don't want to do that.
They know what that means.
Yeah. So it's been really good for them. But I do think it is funny, all the way circling back to your point, like how much busier we are than I ever thought we'd be. We even have birthday parties like midday now, which is awesome. I love a Tuesday afternoon birthday party. Way better than urban air at noon on a Saturday.
Yep.
Love that. But it is crazy, just thinking about how busy we are. So how do you, let's give some tips. 2 tips you would say to handling being a working mom. Like how much do you work typically and how do you handle that and homeschooling? Because I did not thrive doing that, like at all, not even like a little.
Yeah. I haven't been a full-time employee anywhere since I became a mom. When I had my oldest daughter, I just quit my job.
Yeah, no fair.
I said, I'm going to quit. I would never, work and have a child. I don't recommend just quitting, by the way, but I work usually Saturday and Sunday or one or the other. Usually just the weekend at a cooking studio, and that's typically all day. So all day Saturday and Sunday. And then I also run a micro bakery out of my house, and that is kind of all the time. There's really no off day except maybe like a Monday.
I've never been there and not be baking an obscene amount of bread.
Yeah. And thankfully that I can do with the kids at home and kind of manage my time as far as my bakes go to my life. So if I know that we have book club on Tuesday, I can kind of manage around. I won't take orders that are due that day, that kind of thing. Yeah. But my first tip would be, now wait, do these tips have to be something that I follow? No. Because my first tip would be meal prep, but I don't meal prep. Yeah. But when I have meals already, like, I feel like meal prepping in my mind, that's how I do it. I don't like go ahead and prep like meals in the oven, but I prepare in my mind what I'm going to cook, because if anything, you're always going to need to feed, like regardless of your time of work or where you're going or what you're doing, you have to feed people if you're, if you have children. So meal prepping is the first one, or thinking ahead to this month I'm working extra hours on Saturdays or whatever it might be. So I need to be prepared to either hand off a recipe to someone in the house so my husband can do it, or be prepared to order takeout that day or prep ahead of time. So food is number one.
Yeah.
I don't do that one very well most of the time because I'm a chef.
I was like, you're a chef.
This is my problem. I will have the best of intentions, and I will say when I do my grocery order, we're going to eat this on this day and this on that day. And then when it comes to that day, I've completely lost interest. And you're like, I want to try something new. I want to do something different. And so I have a really hard time following through. But you have no choice sometimes, because if you're gone Saturday and Sunday all day and you're exhausted by the time you get home, what you've prepped is what you have to make. I don't know if I have a second tip right off the top of my head, but I try to make my house run like a timeline. Yes, a timeline and a well-oiled machine, and kind of like have a specific flow to it, because if we're all out of whack, then it's like chaos all the time.
Yeah.
We'll end up either watching TV all day, which I don't want to do on a day off, or everybody's just kind of meandering around. Can I play on the, Nintendo, or can I, because there's no structure to the day.
Right.
I used to think that the structure was the negative part of school, and it kind of was to an extent, because we were kind of like pigeonholed into into whatever the school said we had to do from 8 to 3 or whatever it was. But not having structure as a homeschooler also has its negative sides. It doesn't mean that your structure has to be 8 to 3 like the school system, but you have to have some semblance,
some idea.
Yeah. And so for us, that's first thing in the morning, breakfast. Everybody has to have breakfast. I don't let them not eat, because then that causes the snacking and the, it's like a ripple effect. If you don't eat in the morning, then everybody's in a bad mood.
And then they start whining and you're trying to do something,
and then it's another snack and it's another snack. And they go through the entire 2 weeks of groceries in a week or less.
Yeah.
And that has happened. So I try to make sure they eat first, and then we move into schoolwork, or the animals, one or the other, and then we swap, and so then the afternoon is kind of reserved for either our clubs or anything that we have to do, or outside sports, doing sports outside, going out and doing those things.
Doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because my husband lost his job in March, and we just kept assuming like he was going to get something really soon, and by like the grace of the good Lord, he was getting paid through August. So, but then when August hit, I was like, I don't want us to like run through all of our savings. So I started working part-time at my friend's coffee and donut shop. And because I had to get there at like the butt crack of dawn, I was like, I'll be home by 12:30.